All right, I'm the Flat Rate Master, and today we're talking about, well, RE, should you be a mechanic in 2020? The video I did last Monday. So there was a bunch of comments, 268 I believe, and rather than sit there and type out all the responses, because one, we're busy as all get out, I'm tired, and I haven't had time to actually, or the energy to sit there and respond. So I figured a video would be better to reach everybody with some of those comments. So first one I got, and it was several times, and the question was, what is a good living? And a lot of people wanted me to state outright what I consider a good living is. Here's the problem. One, a good living for rural Alabama versus downtown Atlanta are going to be very different for starters. Let's take two guys. Sorry, any ladies, we're just going to use guys because it's easier to say. Two guys. They both work in an office. One sits in behind a desk, makes $30,000 a year, considers making it a good living. Guy B works in an office, makes $60,000 and thinks his pay sucks. Do you see what I'm talking about? What I consider a good living versus what somebody else considers a good living is subjective, very subjective. So it's hard for me to sit here and go, oh, if you're a technician that has this much experience, you should be making this much money. It doesn't happen that way. Doesn't. I've talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again. I don't live in Buckhead where the shop is. I live in a suburb. Why do I commute during normal times, 45 minutes to an hour and a half to and from each? Money. I make more money here than where I live. Now, moving out here would be much more expensive, hence why I commute. And actually only two of the technicians here actually live relatively close to the shop, and one of the service writers, he lives relatively close, but surprised how long it takes him to get to work. But anyway, I make more money coming here than I would where I live, hence why I come out here. So that's something you're going to have to figure out for your local market. I can't answer that. Sorry. It is what it is. If you don't think it's a good living, don't take the job. All right, next one is flat rate. I don't believe I mentioned flat rate in that video at all. I'm sure somebody will timestamp it if I did, but I don't believe I did. I basically talked about income, not how you make it, the pay schemes or whatever that. It is what it is. However you get paid, it comes down to the dollars at the end of the week, end of the month. The way some of you all brought it up really was unnecessary. All right, other industries you can make more money, have less tools, etc., etc. Yes, there's absolutely other jobs you can do. Whether or not you enjoy doing them is up to you. If all you care about is the paycheck, there's tons of other jobs for you. You can go do, you can be like my daughter who's going to be a pharmacist and make $100,000 a year, or you can be an auto tech, or you can be a welder. It's an option. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying there's no other options out there. This channel's focused towards automotive technicians. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Well, since I mentioned flat rate, since y'all mentioned flat rate, let's talk about it. This week, I will have, as long as the two cars behind the camera ship, I will be at 72 hours for this week. Now, that includes running the shop, distributing work, helping all the other technicians in the shop, along with helping the service writers. But you can't make hours. And pretty much everybody in the shop is going to be around the same amount of hours. Some a little lower, some probably a little higher, but now yes, and I didn't talk about it because I've got videos on it, but warranty work sucks when you're at a dealership. But a lot of dealer techs, a 50-hour flat rate week is a bad week because they work on the same thing over and over again. They get really efficient. So yes, you get killed on warranty, but as long as you've got a good bit of customer pay, it's not hard to make hours. We'll move on from that. My statement about they put the dumb kids in the auto repair programs. That was not meant at any kid that took auto repair back in the day. That was the mentality of school counselors. If they didn't think you were smart enough to go to college, they stuck you in a trade. That's how it worked. I don't make this stuff up. That's how it was. It wasn't based on, oh, he's really good with his hands. He can understand, electrical diagrams, none of that stuff. Back then it was the Gomer Piles that got pushed towards the auto repair industry. And I'm not saying people are stupid. That was just how it was. That's where they push the less than ideal students, is towards a trade. Benefits. And yes, there are some issues in this industry with benefits. One viewer mentioned that he's never worked at a shop without paid vacation. The last shop I worked at without paid vacation is the one I owned. Every other shop I worked at, I have had paid vacation. This shop right now, I have 3 weeks of paid vacation. Other benefits like health insurance are coming around. Shops are starting to offer benefits. Why? Because they're looking for help. They need good technicians. One of the ways they can attract them is benefits. Part of the reason why I'm in this shop is my benefits package. I have full health insurance covered by the shop, 100% paid. Am I saying that's an industry standard? No, but it's getting better. Retirement 401k, some shops are going to offer it. Again, trying to attract talent. Is it a common thing? No, but it's getting better. Other mechanics, diesel, mining equipment, industrial, all options. Again, channel focused on auto repair, not those other industries. Again, other options. All I was trying to do is give you perspective. Bad places to work. Got that comment a bunch. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's bad places to go work. There is. Doesn't matter. You can go work in an office and have a horrible experience with all the other people in the office stabbing you in the back, etc. Office politics as it is. Every industry, every business has good places to work and bad places to work. And things change. A friend of mine works at a shop that I used to work at. He loves it. I hated it. But none of the store management is still there that I worked with me, so it's definitely changed. That's the thing, is there's always bad places to work. Doesn't matter what industry it is. All right, I touched on it in the video, but people tend to go after it still. Tools. They're going to need tools. I talked about it. But you don't need this much tools. Most technicians aren't going to use what I've got. I mean, I support an entire shop with different specialty equipment. And I have no problem doing that. I like tools. But for the first several years of your career, you can get by with a roll cart, sockets and all that, and you don't have to spend $15,000, $20,000 on tools. You can have about maybe $5,000 in tools and do most of everything you need as long as you're shopping around and buying smart. Getting burned out. There was a bunch of comments about technicians that are burned out. Again, it happens in every industry. Doesn't matter what it is. You can get burned out on what you do. You've done it for so long. It's a drudge. It is what it is. And people will negatively go in the comments and talk about it, but it happens in every industry. Doesn't matter what it is. People get burned out with what they do and they want to go do something else. If you really seriously want to go do something else, eBay your tools and go do something else, or put them in storage in case you won't decide to go back. I myself got burned out and went to be a regional sales manager for a couple different companies, and then I've come back. It happens. But that's not an auto repair issue, that is a life issue. So I hope I answered a bunch of comments. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.